Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam, that is Mike, and today we have a fun episode for you. We have 5 reasons why the Seahawks will be the best offense in the NFL in 2021. That's a hot statement, but it is a realistic statement, and we're going to be giving 5 reasons why that might be true. Last year, I think the Seahawks were like 5th in total offense or something like that. We are saying that they will jump up 4 spots to the number 1. Real quick, just how we did this. We each made our list of 5 reasons, and we ranked them on most important to least important. And we each did them on individually. We do not know each other's answers. I'm sure that we'll have some crossover.
Yeah.
But maybe have some at the most important. We're going to start at least important and move up to most important. And, yeah, it should be fun. So, Mike, real quick, if you have anything to add, we'll hop right in.
I think you pretty much hit the nail right on the head. I mean, 5 reasons, 5 being the least important, 1 being the most important. I think if we want to just kind of give it into it, my number 5, my least important reason is that I think our offensive line got better. Are they elite? Are they, like what the Cowboys had a couple years ago? Absolutely not. But I think Dwayne Brown is solid. I think Damian Lewis was very good last year. I think Gabe Jackson, adding him at guard, is going to be really good for us. So I think we're solid at left tackle and the 2 guard spots. Center and right tackle are a bit of a question mark, but our offensive line improved. And, worst case scenario, we just get a little bit better. And like you said, we were already the 5th offense, so anything really helps getting us to number 1.
Yeah, my number 5 was a bit from left field, for sure. But I had the return of Rashad Penny. People are going to be like, whoa. People kind of forget that Rashad Penny was the number 3, was like the 3rd down back in this offense in 2019. He's not a great receiver, but he played that role of being that screen pass guy, being a guy who will go out in the backfield and get those passes. Last year was Chris Carson, and he did not do well because Chris Carson doesn't catch the ball well.
He has no hands.
I think that Rashad Penny coming back and adding that versatility to the team, I think that that's really going to help us out and really going to give us an extra shock. And I'm also going to add on a little side note there with DJ Dallas. I think DJ Dallas is going to be a much more key part of this offense than people are saying. I don't think he's going to be like the 3rd down back, but I would not be surprised if he saw like 30% of 3rd down snaps. Yeah. I would not be surprised, especially with his history at receiver and him being an above-average pass blocker. So,
speaking of DJ Dallas, we know you're watching this. Check your DMs. We've been trying to hit you up for a minute now.
Yeah, we know you're watching.
Make sure to check your DMs. I get it. Messages, they go. Just make sure to check your DMs. So for my 4th reason, this is kind of mine. That's like a little bit out of left field, and people might not agree with me, but I think the return of the 12s being in the stadium, hyping up the offense is going to be so key. I think all of the Seahawks really, really feed off of that energy. They really get hyped up, big play. The swing is in the Seattle's favor. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. I think it really, really helps the Seahawks and it gives them energy. I think this helps both their offense and their defense, but I do think that this is a significant thing that will help the offense, obviously, that it did not last year.
Yeah, I did not have that. Mainly because I think that plays more into the defense's favor. Like, I'm sure people remember when like the Seahawks caused like 15 false starts versus the Giants when they visited us, and we were just yelling so loud that they went off. They had like 20 false starts. It's like the most false starts in a game ever. They must have had Jermaine Ifedi playing every single position on the offensive line and just going to town.
We really don't like Jermaine Ifedi. I'm sorry. By the way, if you're watching this, Jermaine Ifedi, we love you, but you got to cut it. But you got to cut it out with the penalties. You got to cut it out with the penalties, bro. Especially because you're on the Bears now. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I had actual tight end, not some washed up 37-year-old Pro Bowler in 2013. We have an actual tight end in Gerald Everett who is dynamic. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside, and he can line up on the offensive line, and he can block. Like, this guy's checking some boxes, man. And
George Kittle, who?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised. You can record this if he breaks out, and if he doesn't break out, then you can hate on me. I would not be surprised if not George Kittle, Gerald Everett balls out this year and goes and gets a bag in free agency. I would not be surprised if that happened. I would not be surprised if he
Yeah.
has like 50 receptions for 650 yards and 10 touchdowns, and then some team swoops him up for like 15 a year in free agency. I would not be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm on record saying that I think Gerald Everett is a key pickup, especially with this new offense. And the new offense is something that also made my list. So with this new offense, I think Gerald Everett is going to play a big role on this team.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Going to a later point that I'll have, but for my third point, I put Shane Waldron. I think that he's just going to provide such a new layer to this offense. I really love the offense that the Rams run. I think if he includes some of that into our playbook, it's going to be really, really well. Get Russ doing play action, get Russ booting out, get our receivers in motion, because we have much more athletic receivers than the Rams do. And if we can get DK Metcalf in motion, we can get Tyler Lockett running. I mean, they run a lot of crossers, they run motion, they run jet sweeps. All of those things are going to be really, really great with our athletic beast receivers that we have. So I'm really excited to see the offense that Shane Waldron brings. And hopefully we are able to beat a cover two, something that Brian Schottenheimer failed to do.
Yeah. That will, as I previously mentioned, that does appear later on my list. At number 3, I have something that you've already had. I have better offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the offensive line isn't just going to be better. It's going to be a couple layers better for a couple reasons. First off, at left guard last year, we had this weird, if you didn't watch the Seahawks, we had like this weird rotation of Jordan Simmons and Mike Upati, because Mike Upati was like 35, so we had to keep him fresh. And it was literally like an NBA game where like an old vet couldn't play the whole time, so they have to keep something in this young guy, but they want to keep the vet in because he's the best player on the team. But he's old, so he can't really keep up like that. And that's what happened with Mike Upati and Jordan Simmons. Now Pete Carroll confirmed that Damian Lewis is going to be playing that spot. And I think that that's going to add a long-term stability at that position, something that we did not have last year. Mm-hmm. Second reason, Ethan Posick will get better at center. I guarantee that he will get better at center, mainly for a couple of reasons. He was an All-American at LSU at center in his senior year. For some reason, we drafted him, we moved him to guard. I don't know why.
We've made fantastic offensive line moves the last 10 years, so it doesn't surprise me.
We've made all the best offensive line draft picks, like Jermaine Ifedi in the first round. I mean, you can't really dispute that.
Yep. We're ripping on him so hard. Like imagine he's like having a bad day. He's like, oh, I'm gonna watch some Seahawks, and we just hear like 2 teenagers just ripping on him. He's like, all right, that's enough. That's enough internet for today.
False start of Ifedi? Is that what you're talking about? No, but like Ethan Posick will get better.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a second year at center, back to back. He had not played center in 4 years up to last year. He had not played center in like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it had been a while.
So he's a great pass blocker. Like as a center, it's tough to get a good pass blocker. He's like a really good pass blocker at center, but as a run blocker, he is like mediocre at best. He lacks power, which is a big issue. So
it's really weird. It's the opposite of Damian Lewis, because Damian Lewis is a really good run blocker.
Damian Lewis had was like the 5th best guard in Pro Football Focus.
I think he had like an 82.
Just because of his run blocking. He had like an 88 run block grade. It was insane.
And then he had like a 74 pass block grade or something like that.
He had like a 50 pass block grade. Like,
oh, really? It was bad.
But yeah, and my third reason is Gabe Jackson. I mean, Gabe Jackson is Gabe Jackson. He's a 30-year-old guy who you will bring in, and is he going to make a Pro Bowl? Probably not. Is he going to make an All-Pro team? Definitely not. Is he going to make the headlines for the Seahawks making the best trade in the NFL over the offseason? No. But what he will do is be an above-average guard for the next 3 seasons when he's under contract. He'll be an above-average guard that will likely keep Russ off the ground most of the game and most of the season at that. So I'm thinking the offensive line is really getting ready to take a big step this year, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, I had that at 5, so I agree with you. I don't think we improved a significant amount.
I don't think we improved that much, but I think of 5-4, it was a bigger reason of 5-4 for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I put up.
That's completely fair. So for my number 2 reason, now these top 2 are like the reasons. Like if we're gonna be number 1 offense, it's because these 2 things just absolutely went insane. Number 2 is our wide receiver core. Last year we had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Both had, I think, at least 1,200 yards. Tyler Lockett broke the single season receptions record.
DK broke this single season yards record.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Those guys they're both top 20 receivers. I would say both top 15. DK is a physical specimen. And once he works,
he's going to get better.
He's going to get better.
He's one of those players for like the next couple of years. He's going to keep getting better. And people are going to be like freaking out in 3 years when he has 2,500 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns. People are going to be freaking out.
Yeah, he catches
People aren't going to know what to do.
He catches 18 of Russell Wilson's 60 touchdown. Anyway, DK will get better.
Of Russell's 100 touchdown passes.
Yes. He will get better route running. He will catch the ball more consistently. Tyler Lockett is the kind of inverse DK Metcalf, not a physical freak. Gets open.
The exact opposite of a physical freak. He's like 5'10", 185 or something.
I am bigger than Tyler Lockett. I am a bigger human
being. I am taller and heavier than Tyler Lockett.
We're both bigger than Tyler Lockett. I eat Tyler Lockett for breakfast. Pause. Anyway, add to that, Dwayne Eskridge, who I think is going to be really good. K. Johnson, who I think makes the roster. And I included Gerald Everett, so I agree with you what you said. And I said wide receiver core, but I really meant receiving core. Gerald Everett, we're not having 55-year-old Greg Olsen catch passes for $7 million a year. So I really think that our wide receiver / tight end core our pass catching unit is going to be significantly better. And it's going to be so hard to stop. It's so hard to stop. I mean, a couple years ago, Russell Wilson was throwing dots to Paul Richardson and Ricardo Laquette. I mean, no disrespect to those guys, but that's pales in comparison to DK, Tyler Lockett, Dwayne Eskridge, and my boy K. Johnson.
Yeah, and you can even add in guys like Tamari Terry, who might make the roster. Freddie Swain, who I know is probably going to get like 10 receptions for 200 yards. But he has made plays.
John Ursua, can't forget about him.
John Ursua, Penny Hart.
I don't think Penny Hart makes the roster, yeah. But,
just shout out every receiver on the Seahawks because
exactly. Yeah.
You can't be too short.
Exactly.
And you kind of said it's gonna be so hard to stop. I always love shouting out the boys at the Man to Man podcast. They, in my opinion, it's one of the best Seahawks podcasts around. Mike Dugar, Chris Kidd, go check it out.
Absolutely love it.
But I remember when Tyler Lockett. No, I remember when DK had like 150 or something. It wasn't on the Eagles. It was on somebody else. Man, he put up a monster game. I think it might have been against the Eagles. He put up like 150.
Was it in the game? Is it a playoff game?
Yeah, and it's either when Tyler Lockett put up 200 or when DK put up like 150 against the Eagles, both last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either after one of those games, but Mike Dugar says, listen, if you're a defensive coordinator, you're either saying, okay, we're going to shut down DK but then die by Tyler Lockett, or we're going to shut down Tyler Lockett and die by DK. That's
what the Cardinals did. They were like, okay, we're going to stop DK, and then Tyler Lockett
went they did a good job of stopping DK, but I don't think they realized that Tyler Lockett had 15 receptions for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I think the only team that successfully shut down both of them was the Rams, because they said,
and the Giants.
Because the Rams, what they did was they said, okay, we're going to put Jalen Ramsey on an island with DK Metcalf, and then we're going to divert 2 or 3 guys to Tyler Lockett. And Jalen Ramsey, to his credit, shut down DK, except for the one play in the playoffs.
But he wasn't even on him in that play.
Right.
DK has shown that he can be successful against other Rams corners, but against Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey is the best possible corner to cover DK Metcalf. Like, it's insane. He talks. DK is a passionate player. So when you talk about him, he will take it to heart, and that can get under his skin.
Jalen Ramsey is the league's best trash talker.
Guys, I don't think you understand how much I hate and love Jalen Ramsey at the same time, because he's my favorite non-Seahawks cornerback in the NFL. I hate to say it, but he just is. Like, non-Seahawks cornerback, I
Oh,
think that like I love his attitude. Like if he was on the Seahawks, I would love him
he's
to death.
2013 Richard Sherman. That's who he is.
Yeah, that's literally what he is, and he's the best possible player because he's so physical. That's something you have to be with DK. Like when corners are afraid to put their hands on DK, like Stephon Gilmore was. Like I think you remember when DK was like running like curls against Stephon Gilmore, and Stephon Gilmore was like just like kind of like
Don't let him get 30 yards behind me. Yeah.
yeah. And then Jalen Ramsey is totally comfortable with just getting all over DK. So like, but when DK goes up against like a smaller corner like Darius Williams, he's had some success. I'm not saying that he's had success.
Not the screen pass, but
Yeah.
That one hurt. That one hurt a little bit.
No, but for number 2, I had the same thing, kind of. I said, an actual wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
How many years has it been since the Seahawks have had a legitimate third weapon? 2013 when they had Percy Harvin, and you can describe that
Percy
as
Harvin barely played though. He barely played.
I mean, but like he was a weapon.
He was a weapon, but he was never like he was like a gun in a safe. We just never were able to use him.
He was like,
and then he just randomly ran back the kickoff in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, he like dominated. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, Percy Harvin!" But he didn't do anything like all year.
And then we never saw him ever again.
Yeah, he didn't play in 2014. He didn't. He just kind of.
I don't know what happened to Percy Harvin.
And then I think he bounced to
the Jets.
The Jets, and then the Bills. If you remember Percy Harvin on the Bills, you're an OG. Football diehard. You are like, but
dude, Percy Harvin and Reggie Bush on the Bills went absolutely hard.
You remember Fred Jackson on the Seahawks?
I do, which was so funny because he was the guy that they replaced.
Question: do you remember? Like off topic, I saw this on Twitter. CJ Spiller played for the Seahawks at one point. Do you remember CJ Spiller being on the Seahawks? I don't remember him being on the Seahawks.
It was after he was on the Saints.
It totally passed through my mind that he was even on the Seahawks. I didn't even know.
We just take all the Bills running backs: Marshawn, Fred Jackson, CJ Spiller. If you're a Bills running back and
Chris Carson was rumored to go to the Bills, we could say
Chris Carson was rumored to go to the Bills. If you were a Bills running back, hop on back, baby.
Yeah, get on this train. We're going to a Super Bowl. But
yes.
Yeah, I have wide receiver 3 because I think Dwayne Eskridge is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
At wide receiver 3, he's going to be a stud. He's been dominating in rookie camp, according to reports. Like, he lined up against Trey Brown twice, and Trey Brown is a fast man. Trey Brown is a 4'4" flat guy at 5'10". So he's not big, and he doesn't have to carry a lot. Apparently, Dwayne Eskridge, like, smoked him in one-on-ones. So
I think that's more of a bad thing than it is a good thing. Like, I really don't want Trey Brown. If I could have
no, it was just like straight line speed. Who's faster?
Right. Yeah.
Like Dwayne Eskridge, like it's not necessarily about Trey Brown being like bad. It's more about Dwayne Eskridge just being very, very fast.
Yeah,
and that's what I love. Dwayne Eskridge is a burner, and I think that it's going to totally revolutionize this offense. And I have that as my number 2 reason. Mike, what do you have as your number 1?
Number 1, and this was the first thing that came to my mind when he gave me the video idea. This was written in all caps. It was underlined, circled, exclamation pointed, arrows pointing to it. Russell Wilson. Oh, whoa.
No, I'm joking.
Whoa.
I'm joking.
Pause. Russell Wilson.
Always compete, baby. Always compete. What about the return of Jermaine Ifedi? Can I list that as
Pete Carroll? He just starts spitting his gum on the field, and defense players start tripping. They're like, "Oh, what's on my shoe?" He's DK just flying past him.
Yeah, it's a distraction tactic.
No, it's Russell Wilson. Let's be honest. We have a top 3 minimum quarterback in the NFL. Dude's been doing it forever. Just had his best season. 40 touchdown passes. New offensive coordinator. Like, it's like this number 1 is a combination of everything I've had, plus the fact that we have Russell Wilson. You're always going to have a good offense when you have Russell Wilson, but then when you have new wide receivers, when you have a new offensive coordinator, when you have, the return of your fans, when you have a better offensive line, it just culminates to be such a good offense. And if we can replicate our offense from the first 6 or 7 weeks of the year, Lord have mercy on opposing defensive coordinators.
Yeah. I had related, but not really. The way you approached it.
Geno Smith. Yes, sir.
I had it as the return of Charlie Whitehurst personally, but you can kind of say whatever you want.
No, sir.
I had
Jesus.
You kind of approached it as why the Seahawks would just be a top 5 offense. I want to put it as like additions that the Seahawks made that would push them over being being like the first offense.
Okay.
And I can understand, and obviously if I thought about it like you, Russ is number one. The number one reason why the Seahawks would win games is Russell Wilson. So, but the number one reason that I had was Shane Waldron.
Yep.
Pete Carroll was talking in a press conference, and somebody asked him, Pete, how's it going with Shane Waldron? And you know what he said? He said his offense is innovative. His offense is surprising. It's unpredictable. Is this the Seahawks?
We're not running.
Are we watching the Seahawks?
We're not running a 1980s I formation offense.
We're not
anymore.
running first 2 plays run and then a deep ball every single.
Our offense isn't going to be 3/4 of ineptitude and then, hey, Russ, bail us out in the 4th quarter, please.
Shane Waldron. I'm excited, guys. Like, I'm legitimately excited for Shane Waldron. I think that Shane Waldron. Imagine. Just imagine. Yes. Russ takes a snap in a shotgun. Play action to Chris Carson. Naked bootleg. Looks around. Finds DK on an innovative route that's not a flyer or a slant.
Or a post. Oh my God. I'm gonna need some Kleenex and a napkin or a washcloth really quick. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Just like it's.
My God.
It's amazing to think about it, and think about Pete sitting down, being angry, watching Shane Waldron revolutionize this offense and not run the same 2 plays everything. And the way it sounded like Pete is willing to give off some of the reins to Shane Waldron. It sounds
He's gonna be like, hey, where's the halfback dive on 1st and 2nd down?
Shane, get in my office.
Shane, what are we doing? Not throwing 35-yard pass on 3rd and 2. What are we doing?
Shane's like, we're averaging 35 points a game through week 11.
You see,
we're winning by too much, Shane.
Yeah, Shane, gotta keep the ball.
TV ratings are down, Shane. We're not winning by enough.
Russ threw a couple interceptions 3 weeks ago, so can't have that.
But he has 55 touchdowns through 11 weeks.
Yeah, he's like 55-3, and because like nope, we
get to the playoffs.
We get to the playoffs and we
run one game. No,
we get to the playoffs and we run the ball 60 times in the first game.
60 times every single play.
Russ throws like 15 passes. Yeah.
Chris Carson is like battered down and beaten at the end of the game. 45 running.
It's like we're running the offensive like a high school team that has like a godly running back but just a shit QB. And they like never throw the ball.
And they run like the option offense. So that's all they do.
Yeah. They throw the ball like screen passes and shit.
Yeah. Shane Waldron is gonna change this offense in a drastic way. Like. You might not recognize some of the plays that the Seahawks run this offseason.
I think the first game of the year I'll be watching and I will think like I'm having like a fever dream and I'll be pinching myself and I'll be like,
Russell Wilson is rolling one way and then he circles back around.
You see like
in the play design and he has Tyler Lockett wide open on a 50-yard bomb.
Like we see like design jet sweeps and all that and I'm like.
Fake jet sweep to Dwayne Eskridge and Russ rolls out and then throws it back on the other side to Dwayne Eskridge.
Oh my God. I think I am going to need a new change of pants. I think that's what's going to happen.
For multiple reasons.
Multiple reasons.
Several. But no, Shane Waldron is going to be the reason if the Seahawks make a jump. Shane Waldron is going to be the primary reason. Because honestly, I love Shoddy as a person. I think Shoddy's a great person.
Hands up, Shoddy. Yeah, he's got the coolest offensive coordinator name.
As an offensive coordinator, he's below average at best.
Yeah.
Can you believe that he had head coach offers? The Texans offered him a head coaching job.
Well, it's the Texans. It's the Texans.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
They're like Brian Schottenheimer. You are going to revolutionize Deshaun Watson.
And now
they don't have a coach
Trevor
or a
Lawrence's
quarterback.
Future relies on
double
halfback dive and deep pass to DJ Chark.
Don't they got both of our? They
have Bevel and Shoddy.
Russell Wilson. We're gonna play the Jaguars, and it's gonna be like 30 halfback dives. And
Schottenheimer's gonna be like, I know this game. It's okay. And then Sean Evans on the sideline, like,
Yeah.
rollout?
Yeah.
What is this?
What?
He's like having like a mental breakdown.
End of the game. End of the game. Russ just shakes Trevor Lawrence's hand. He's like, "I'm sorry. You have both of them.
Listen,
I had
man.
one at a time."
Listen, man. Okay, he's chewing gum. He's happy enough to chew gum like Pete. He's in such a mental state that. Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah. By that time, what is that? Like week 12, we'll be 11-0. So.
Yeah, by week 12, we'll be 11-0 on the Jaguars. Shaquille Griffin will be yelling to our sideline, "Bring me back, bring me back, bring me back."
They're literally they're like the hand-me-down Seahawks. I'm gonna call the Jaguars the hand-me-down Seahawks from now on.
Yeah, they signed
Carlos
Phillip,
Shaq, Dan, and Schottenheimer. 5 key pieces. I'm trying to put my hand. 5 key pieces in one offseason from the Seahawks.
Yeah. That's ridiculous, man. That's not okay. That's not okay.
It's not okay. Not at all.
But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up.
But at the same time, that's pretty cool.
but anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Once again, if you have any different reasons, like if you think that the reason why the Seahawks will ball out is Austin Davis has a career renaissance and leads the Seahawks.
Freddie Swain just is a demon next year.
Yeah, Penny Hart switches to running back and has a 2,000.
You're like, or if you're really dumb and you're like, yeah, no, Travis Homer, 1,000 yards.
Yeah, if you're stupid. Yeah, no disrespect to Travis Homer.
Yeah, dude, we really need to be careful who we disrespect because we're gonna get a guy who like wants to come on and they're gonna be like, dude, you said I was ass cheeks in your last episode. We're like, sorry, dude.
Well, it's kind of true. No,
we just don't disrespect the good players. We only have good players. DK, come on, baby.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
Homie. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. If you guys have anything, any suggestions, go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you guys have anything to say, leave it in the comments. Drop subscribe to guarantee that you do not miss out on great, nearly daily Seahawks content.
Yeah.
And drop a like and get this wherever you listen to your podcasts. Mike, anything to say before we?
I love you, Shane Waldron. And I think that's
Dwayne Eskridge. Come on the show.
Yeah. Honestly, like, if you're on the Seahawks, bro, check your DMs. Like, we've probably DM'd you at this point.
Yeah, we've probably DM'd you at one point.
I probably DM'd your wife to try to get you on the show. And maybe
I get connections. I probably DM'd your agent and emailed your agent.
I DM'd your 8-year-old child. Nope. Never mind.
That's wrong. Close it out.
End of the video. Bye.